What's up, guys? This is not going to be your regular Sunday market update because I am currently in Istanbul and I am having the most relaxing day by the water. I'm going to show you in a second. Yeah, so we're doing this one on chill mode. I do have my laptop ready to go there. I'll show you what I'm thinking about the market in a second. But it was a pretty crazy week and I do have some concerns about the price action, which I will show you on a chart, but I'm also just cautiously optimistic. We didn't get a pullback as deep as what I wanted that I talked about on my last video. I was sort of hoping that we would retest around 60K before pushing up further. We didn't come down that low. The lowest we got was 63,000. And I think that we might be in the phase of the cycle where you have to sort of build a plan for that because we may not have that much longer left until we break out of this accumulation phase that we're in for Bitcoin. And when I say not much longer, I'm not necessarily talking in the next week. I still think that the next month to 2 months is a good time to build your portfolio. So, definitely not panic stations or anything like that, but it may be very, very difficult in the accumulation phase. The market maker is not going to make it easy for you to get your typical change in market structure type of entry. So it's a good time in the cycle, in my opinion, to dollar cost average over time, over the next couple of months into the things that you want, even if the price isn't coming back to your perfect entry zone. That's sort of how I'm seeing the market right now. But we are going to talk about Bitcoin. I'm going to show you why I'm concerned. But yeah, I'm here in Istanbul. 𝗟𝗃 bought me out. Thank you, 𝗟𝗃. I've had an amazing time. They bought me out for their first ever Trader Summit, which I was a panelist on, and I got to speak about risk management and hedging strategies, which is one of my most favorite subjects. A lot of you guys have asked me on social media if it was recorded. It wasn't, but I think because the subject was so good, it was actually so good that we ran over time and we didn't actually get through all of the questions. So I'm thinking I might actually do a separate video on it. It was a really high level conversation and I think more people than just those that were in the room should probably hear it. So yeah, let me know if you want me to do that. But yeah, before we get into Bitcoin, smash that like button. And whilst you're doing that, just take a look at this most amazing, incredible view. All right, so let's get into this. One other thing I've got to say is I'm in the robe because we are in chill mode. We're family on this channel, so who cares, right? But on Bitcoin, my concern is in the move that we had up during the week. On the daily time frame, we have not created one single vector. Now, if you're new to this channel, let me explain to you what a vector candle is. On this particular indicator, you will notice that my candle colors are all different colors. Some are red, some are green, some are magenta, some are blue, and then the rest are white and gray. The candles that we care about for this trading strategy are the colored ones. So every candle that is not white or gray. The reason we care about those candles is because they're showing us an increase in volume in comparison to the prior 10 candles or the average of the prior 10 candles. And so when they're green and red, it's a 200% increase in volume of the average of the prior 10 candles. When it's magenta and blue, it's a 150% increase in volume. The reason we care about that is because that is where we make the assumption that that is the market maker behind the move, because only the market makers can move with that much of a volume increase and such a large injection of money into a single candle. Now, not every candle is going to be the market maker. We then have a look to the volume spikes, and that helps us to sort of narrow down where the market maker is in this. So my concern is when we have a look at the last vectors that we had, which were these three to the downside that ended up creating the stopping volume candle and brought Bitcoin down down to about 53,000, say 500. That was the last, kind of significant spike in volume right here. And then we haven't really had anything since. And in addition to that, where the price has been rising ever since then, the volume has been decreasing. So that concerns me, because the only reason that tends to happen is the market maker is sitting back and letting retail make the decision, and they're pretty much just watching to see retail sentiment. When the retail sentiment is so obvious, which is like we're ridiculously bullish, it can be a trap. So this is just something I want to be aware of for now. All it means to me is that it's not ruling out the possibility of still coming for this lower liquidity at some point in time. Now, when I say at some point, it could take 2 months to get there. I don't know. But the only time I will stop having my plan for Bitcoin to come down into that zone would be when this trend is proven, which at this point in time, it's not proven, because we have not yet created a higher low and then a higher high, right? So we have not yet actually changed the market structure. This price action right here is a higher high in comparison to this spike here at the beginning of July. So we have the higher high, but we don't have the higher low that has proven the change in trend yet. So unless that happens, I still keep my plan in place for a potential move, one more leg down at some point over the next few months. That's not me saying I think it's going to happen, just to be clear, because for some reason people sometimes hold on to single sentences in my 20-minute videos that contain many more sentences than just one. But what I'm saying is the plan that I developed for my own personal strategy when this move was happening and we knew there was this liquidity down here, that plan remains in place until a higher low shows me. I don't have to worry about that anymore. In addition to that, price is currently in our previous area of interest, which is this red vector candle right here, sitting between 66 and 69.5. And again, all we're really waiting to see is that market structure change, the proof that this is the start of a new trend with a higher low. When we have a look at the liquidity, we can see we're right in that pocket now. So the highest level of liquidity that is above price is actually towards the top of this vector candle. Not sure how much has already been wiped out because it's been removed now, but there is still a little bit more to go if they do want to take price up to the top of the vector candle. And then again, the liquidity is still below price. I would say, I could probably tighten my range now. This is the most significant area around here. Again, between 51 and about 53.5. Now, because I am lacking that volume increase in this move up, I want to investigate further. So I want to know, is this move happening on the spot market? What could be the reason for it? We know that people are expecting this week the ETH ETF to be approved. We also know that this weekend we have the Bitcoin conference happening in Nashville, and Trump, I don't even know if he has made an appearance yet or if he's going to, but a lot of people are very bullish on that, knowing that Trump is a supporter of crypto. So this has me really, really concerned that it really could be a buy the rumor into this weekend's event and potentially sell off after. Now, I don't want that to scare you, by the way, because to me, if Bitcoin were to come back anywhere, whether it created the high low or it did come down into this liquidity zone, it's just the chance to buy before we break out of this range, which we believe is going to happen in the next 1 to 2 months. All I would say to you is don't be that person who down here didn't take action and is now, kind of regretting it. So if we do happen to come back, buy on higher lows, buy on these liquidity sweeps, do that and wait long term. When we have a look at the 4-hour time frame, the model has actually played out here. So we had the W formation. That was the opportunity to get in on the long position. Would have been a couple of weeks ago now. And it does look like we've had our 3 rises through there. We've come back to the remainder of this vector candle right here, and we have tapped on about halfway of it. If we manage to break through that vector candle, then we will be looking at this one right here next, which also is where price is at the bottom of it currently as well. So the 4-hour time frame looks like it has completed to me. And when we look at how the week played out last weekend's price action wasn't typical because we ran a trend during the weekend, and that trend continued to be the trend for the first half of the week. And then we had our midweek reversal come in early on Wednesday, and it was only a little reversal before we ended up in the Friday trap move. Now, one thing I will say about this Friday trap move, this happened during the US session where we broke out to the upside. I went back since the ETFs have launched and I had a look at the Friday price action, because prior to the ETF, the Bitcoin ETF, the weekend trap move would typically happen in the UK session on Fridays, and it started with a false move at the UK Open. Then the UK would run a trend against that move, so in the opposite direction, and then we would repeat the false move at the end of UK, and that price action is what would trap you into the weekend. US sometimes reversed that, sometimes it continued it, and it was very sort of unpredictable. And that was pretty much the typical model that would happen most weeks. However, ever since we've had these Bitcoin ETFs, what I've noticed is that if the UK session is quite boring and flat, US tends to make the move. I went back and counted ever since the Bitcoin ETF launched how many Fridays where the US moved price more than 4% was that move taken back the next week. And the answer was every time. So on Bitcoin currently, this move here that started in the US, now I only counted sessions where the trend started in US. There were some weeks where the trend started in UK, so I'm not including that. I'm only talking about the false move price action happening in the US session. And so here we had about a 4% move, a little bit more than 4% in just the US session on Friday. And when this happened in every other Friday, that move that happened in that US session was taken back the next week. Not necessarily the start of the following week, but at some point in the following week it was taken back. Guys, I've got the worst internet here, but I'm just going to show you a couple of examples because this isn't loading properly. But this is one example here where it happened on a Friday. This was more than a 4% move and went into the weekend, and the following week it was taken right back. This was another one here where we had this spike up on the 15th of March, and actually on the weekend it got taken back, but during the week it got taken back again. And here's another example where the false move happened here on the Friday in the US. This was in April, and it took the whole week, but by the end of this week we did come back and fully reset that move as well. So it doesn't mean we might not go up before we go down, or we're just going to go straight down, but at some point next week I would expect that we will reset this Friday false move. And if that's the best case scenario and we kind of hold support around 64,000, that might be a good spot to dollar cost average. The heat maps aren't showing me anything, so I really can't give prices here. There isn't large orders basically anywhere, and so if we're relying on the liquidity levels, we can see that there is still some, if they wanted to bring price higher, there are some levels still currently above the price, but right now we're consolidating, so I wouldn't say we're definitely going to go up higher. Only if we break out of this consolidation would you consider that we are going higher than here. I also don't think this is a reason to close any long positions right now. The only way that you would take your final profit and close long positions would be if we broke down from the accumulation range. But you can see if we do break down from it, there is a lot of liquidity below, and especially the biggest one is around here, which would be a full reset of that US session. Now, straight from Istanbul, I am actually heading to Paris, and my schedule is really quite hectic there. I will try to do updates on YouTube when I can, but if you're not following me on Twitter, be sure to go over there and follow me there, because sometimes it's much easier to just do a written update and let you know what's going on than it is to film a whole YouTube video, especially when I'm traveling. But make sure you grab the links to any of my social media from the description below this video, because there are tons of impersonators out there. So to make sure you get the right one, only use the links in the bottom of this video. And whilst you're down there, if you're looking to join an exchange, there is an OKX link down there, and you can get yourself a 20% rebate on all of your future trading fees. And that link also gets you access to our Discord. So the how-to on how to do all of that is written in the description of this video. See you guys on the next one.